Good evening. Welcome to the May 8th meeting of the Upper Darby Township Planning Commission. I've called the meeting to order and it is about 7:02. Visual roll call shows that we're all here except Steve, who did let us know he would not be here this evening. You've got the minutes and they were emailed out. Is there a motion to accept the minutes or do they need some changes?
I'll make the motion to accept.
A second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
We have no communications and bills, so we can go right into our review. And tonight, Mike Galante, representing the township, is going to talk about the work going on right in front of us at the 5 Points Garrett Road intersection area where we are working on a pedestrian plaza. Mike.
Yeah, good evening. So I might not need this.
No, you gotta do
You
it.
think I need, okay, I have to, okay. Always sound so loud. So the plan you have in front of you is, this is actually a bit of an older set. It's probably like 2 revisions behind. But the plan hasn't changed significantly from this revision to the current revision. When I first started working at the township, there was some talk about, we had a Garrett Road modernization study, which talked about trying to, modernize Garrett Road, create bike lanes, create pedestrian-friendly environments. So one of the things that, we wanted to do was try to implement a piece of that modernization study. And the work that you see today is in generally conformance with that study. So the way this came about is we had some COVID funding for social distancing on Garrett Road. So what we did was we took the COVID funding, developed a project that would provide social distancing on Garrett Road and a pedestrian-friendly space, starting at the municipal building down to Market Street. So the first phase of the project started in November of last year. That was some lighting work and some taking out all the parking meters and adding some concrete, replacing the concrete along Garrett. And if you were to walk down Garrett, say back in October versus after we got the work done in November, even now, you'll notice that you actually feel like you can walk and there's space to get around. So I actually, in general, I actually like that aspect of the project the most because it really did provide some open sidewalks that you can walk down Garrett without having a meter every 20 feet, parking meter. Now we have kiosks there, like maybe 3 total per side. And then, with the funding that we had, we also, given the fact that we do have the one center, which is kind of at the center of the block, we redid the parking lot, which is, kind of directs traffic to 2 different intersections. You can either get to the 5 Points intersection or get to Chestnut Street. We wanted to make sure that there was, a safe pedestrian walking path to get people from the parking lot over to the one center and then a defined path, because right now it's at the center of the block and people tend to just walk in the center of the block to get there. I myself do that. I find myself doing that sometimes, just if there's no traffic, you can just sneak across. So this project, if you recall, if you look at the first page in the set, that's the demolition plan. There was that turnaround and then there's the steps. The turnaround has been closed for, I think, 20 years. I think there were times, if you look at old aerials, you'll see that it was actually a landscape area. It's been blocked off the Jersey barrier. It's been through numerous ways of prohibiting traffic on it, that little turnaround in front of the building. So when TPD came in and did the modernization study, say in 2019, one of the recommendations was to close that.
Is there any way to put this up?
No, the screen's broke. Yeah, so you can kind of see like this is the front of the building and the turnaround. If you can picture it, like right, you actually look out the window and see
Look out the
it.
window. Look right down.
Oh.
So the proposal would be to close it in, make it a plaza, create some green space, tie it into the 5 Points intersection, tie it into the municipal building, tie it into the one center, and for the crosswalks, we're going to do imprinted crosswalks, the PennDOT imprinted crosswalks. So it would be basically stamped asphalt And you probably see it if you go up Township Line Road. If you go up Market, say you go up Market Street and make it right on Township Line Road and you head toward Philadelphia, there's an intersection that you kind of cross it on the way down. And it looks really good. So we're excited about that. And we think that's going to provide some good pedestrian-friendly walkways to get around.
How long does it last? How long does that crosswalk last?
It should be a good 10, 15 years. Now, there's gonna be times where it has to get maintained. So, we'd have to maintain it, we'd have to paint it, we'd have to upgrade it. But given the fact that it's right in front of the municipal building, it's a heavily traveled intersection, it would be a, good addition to that area and help, especially help delineate, calm traffic when they're cutting through that intersection, because people really, they just fly right down there sometimes. So having those crosswalks help, give the motorists the vision of, traveling through that intersection and that there could be a pedestrian crossing by. The plaza area is going to be concrete. We're looking to do a decorative colored concrete, similar to what you have at the One Center on the interior. And then there's going to be permeable pavers. And you can see right out the window, there's a circle area with brick paver. And if you go to, say, page, if you went to page 2 of 3 at the back where the reduced scale ADA plans are, you'll see that there's a circular section for the eco pavers that are going in. And you can actually look right out the window and show you actually where it's at, because they actually have the pipe in and they have it connected to the inlet. Additional improvements in the intersection include handicap, updated ADA accessible curb ramps throughout. PennDOT required, as we were going through the permitting process, that we upgrade all the ramps because we're milling and overlaying. One of the things we wanted to do is mill and overlay the intersection to make sure that when we put these stamped crosswalks in, there were no other improvements that would come along. Like say PennDOT wanted to come in 5 years from now and repave the road. Well, this would already be paved. They don't have to go repave, rip out the brand new crosswalks. They could stop there and keep going without, impacting the rest of the roadway and then the crosswalks. So in general, that's the gist of the improvements. Now Josh has some additional comments that he wanted to implement. We also want to get feedback from the Planning Commission because there are still some things that we can do there that would help spruce up the intersection and improve the area in the plaza. For example, landscape could be like to provide more security. We could provide some planter boxes. We could do some
To direct people to the walk.
to direct people to it, yeah, and also make them feel secure when they're in there. One thing we're looking at is the steps. There's a lot of, I guess I call them, I won't say rumors, but there's a lot of different thoughts on why the steps were closed. I don't really have a clear answer. I'm trying to review the plans and find out why they actually were closed. I heard that they can't support, structurally, they can't support human loads. I've heard a lot of different things, so we want to research that and see if we can keep the steps open so that people could physically sit there and maybe have lunch or just kind of utilize it as part of the plaza. And this, it's pretty cool because it's actually gonna get its first use. I have to get this done before the election. I gotta keep room open so people can get to the polls, but there'll be plenty of room on the other side of the street. But also we have an event on the 10th. That's going to happen right outside, which I think it's the whole county it's the county, what event is it?
It was a Pride Fest, right?
It's Pride Fest, they're having Pride Fest out front, so it'll be, that whole event will be using that space, so we'll be done by then.
June.
Huh?
June.
June 10th, I believe, yeah. And then also with the International Fest, it'll be a good area to utilize as well. You could set the stage there, you could have little vendors set up there and so on. So with that, are there any other, I know it's hard to see because the plans are so small, they're like minute. I could email out everyone a copy so you can see a little bit closer. We were hoping to have the screen up, but I guess the screen's not working right now, so.
All right, so your plan to go to bid is when?
It's under construction.
Oh, it's under construction?
Yeah, we're building, yeah,
Oh,
we got,
all right.
yeah.
What do you need us for?
Wanted to get some feedback on it, wanted to present it to the commission.
Okay.
Wanted to see if there's any additional comments while we're
All
still
right.
under construction that we can implement to make it better.
ideally, I would have had this come through you guys before we started construction.
So what kind of trees are being planted? Because I think I've learned now, the type of trees you put in, especially places like that, are very, very important.
Yes, the contractor's been asking me what trees, I put a standard tree on my plans, just as like a placeholder for the number, but we're actually, looking at,
Yeah, you
some options. Yeah, Josh, do you have any options you want to discuss?
Well, I just, I don't necessarily know, for sure about the trees, and that's maybe something we can work with Shade Tree on too. But there were a couple comments, I think you addressed a lot of them, but I think one of the big things with this layout is it shows, right, just kind of at grade landscaping with trees. I think it would be much more beneficial to have some sort of, box type, buffer, some sort of landscaping, raised landscaping bed or something like that, provides a little bit of that sense of security, but also provides the greenery, and the shade that you would get with a tree. I think that's important for it. It's kind of sense of security, privacy, and that it's also in a way that you can sit there and feel comfortable, with you being at a 5-point intersection. And I think that's important for the use of the plaza.
And keep in mind, this is kind of like
Who is going to pick the tree? They're already in construction, somebody's.
we haven't
buying a
picked
tree.
it yet, but we will have to pick it pretty soon. So that's kind of how this conversation came up. I was talking to Josh. I
Right,
said, Josh, what do you think we should do with the trees? And Josh is like, oh, well, why don't we bring this to the planning commission so we can all talk about it, get some more feedback? Because we do have a little bit of room here. This is, the plan is, I don't want to say generic, but the plaza is generic, a generic layout. You get concrete, pavers, and some trees. But there's more that could be implemented into it.
so
It's not
Josh,
just like a already, there's still that amenities that could be added.
so Josh, you're gonna pick the trees, or who actually, still not know who's picking the trees?
So it'll probably be.
It's like go after Shade Tree Commission and bug them.
So at the end of the day, right, Mike's gonna pick the tree. He's gonna go based off of our recommendations.
Yes,
Okay?
So if we have a
But the shade tree
recommendation,
commission will be involved.
we'd also, we'd probably like to ask them.
we would ask them, ask the tree tenders, see if they have any recommendations on a certain type of tree that they would think would provide a good benefit to that kind of area, like a plaza area. And Josh made a lot of good points. These type of plazas, they support the local business. So for example, 5 Points, and I use 5 Points because they're closest and they're a coffee shop. Someone at 5 Points now could walk out of the store, go over to Crosswalk and sit out in the plaza and kind of enjoy their coffee now, and it helps support the
And
surrounding area.
just because I'm really on the tree thing,
Yeah.
how many trees will be planted?
We have a total of 6 going in, but they're gonna be big trees. They're full-size trees that would go in, like 3-inch caliper, 6 foot high.
That's a big
Sorry.
space for just 6 trees. There's no other trees gonna be worked in anywhere?
Well, that's where the planter boxes come in. We wanna look at, adding potentially some actual physical planters, or even incorporate the planter boxes into the actual construction. So there's ways I can do that now, and the contractor's moving, but I can still implement and make modifications.
So the planters are not shown on the plans yet.
No, like I said, it's kind of like a blank slate. To
Right,
kind of
and like,
improve, and
right now, it's just at grade landscape.
it's at great landscape, yeah.
You trees, want to see out there?
If so, now's the time.
Pardon me?
If so, now's
Tell
the
me what
time.
kind of tree you want now.
So I have had great success at my rentals with linden,
Is that Little Leaf Linden? No?
look, I'm sorry. Yes, them, but also locust trees, because they have that skinny little leaf that doesn't clog up drains too bad, doesn't clog up gutters too bad. It breaks up very quickly, so I very rarely have to rake them up. They just break up so quickly. It's called a locust tree.
Locust.
Honey locust, right?
Honey
Yeah,
locust?
it's just called locust tree. It's got a skinny little leaf. They're all over, you see them, now that I've said it, you're all gonna see them, But, the beautiful thing is, the gutter cleaning was like incessant, and so it's been really helpful. And I asked somebody who lives down on Waverly Street in Philadelphia, so I like these trees, and they told me if they were called, they said they put them in for that exact reason. So I'm just stealing from other people.
That's something, that's not a bad idea, because that could help with maintenance, of course.
But shade. What about
Oh,
shade?
they're very shady.
Oh, okay.
It's the citrus, drops its leaves, etc. But you can also put like southern magnolias, because they're evergreen. That's why I was asking, they're expensive, but there's southern magnolias with the big green leaves, they're really cool. And the Grandiflora one is great.
Because that plaza being open is with cement, it's gonna be hot.
Yeah,
It'll be to the point where, yes, you'd like people to go from the coffee shop maybe and sit down. But when the heat from the cement hits you, if there's not real shade, that's gonna be very undesirable.
Yeah,
Well, the shady days would be more desirable, but they'll still use it another days.
yeah, I mean, well, you need something that can take a beating too. It's a good chance. Exactly.
That's why we have the planter beds there.
Okay,
that's why we like, that's why Josh made a good point about security, so put a planter bed in,
Do you
get it like 3 foot high, so it's not above the site triangle.
okay.
And then you put some small
It's
shrubs.
good sitting height too, if you,
Yeah.
you know, you're creating extra seats too, if you have a little
So what
3, 4.
the planter boxes, what would they be made of?
We can make them out of block, I could buy them prefab,
Not, don't do.
not wood, not like they did, he doesn't want to do what we don't want to mimic what they did on Fern Boulevard. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Which isn't, it looks pretty good out there, it's a nice secure area. But that's
Yeah,
what
that's a
also
different
makes that
application.
seating secure out there.
Right, makes-
Having those,
Are they township or are they theirs?
they put them out there,
Yeah, they put them out, so they're in charge of maintaining.
yes.
I can understand. So they had these big fiberglass things that, are they still down there in Garrett Road, the big fiberglass ones that all became trash cans? They had bushes in them in the 90s, and then they were this big gray.
I know what you're talking about.
Ovoid shape, not ovoid.
Which are really good for if a car errant goes off the road, you have that giant concrete
But they were fiberglass, weren't they?
or fiberglass,
I
whatever,
think.
but all that topsoil helps absorb the impact.
So you make boxes out of cinder blocks?
They could be out of CMU block, or it could be almost like when you go to the stadium in Philadelphia, you know, when you go to like the Sixers game or something like that, where you have like, or an Eagles game where they have like the planter boxes along the edge of the road.
Made out of what?
They're
Light concrete.
they're like a concrete type one. I would look for concrete, honestly, if we're looking for security.
Mhm.
But-
Yes.
Since they're in construction, shouldn't that somebody be
Well, I
picking
can,
them out and buying them or?
well, yeah, we can, I mean, it's easy to get block. We could get block and,
Okay.
yeah. Or we could look at ordering them and adding them in.
Now, like worst case scenario, this doesn't necessarily affect, this is all stuff you add on top.
This
doesn't
would all
affect
be stuff I would add
stormwater.
on to the
This
top,
doesn't
yes.
affect the actual layout of anything,
No,
right?
1 to 6 trees are gonna be in the ground? Are there any ground pits for the trees?
the trees would go in the ground. There's a 4 foot planting strip along the edge of the roadway to kind of buffer the people in the plaza from the road. So if you look at, if you kind of see, unfortunately, I wish I had a bigger plan. But if you go to like page,
The second page says shade tree planting schedule, you can see it there.
if you went to page 2 or 3 on the ADA ramp and large plans, you'll see the planting area. It's like a grass area up front.
I don't have lenses and I can't read it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, it's.
Don't be sorry, I'm just, I just would rather talk about the trees and what you're making.
I
Like,
like.
the boxes, you could go to that place on Township Line and just buy like, not real Belgian blocks, but they have like something, looks like it's like a gray stone.
Yeah,
Is that too expensive to make planters out of those?
no, that's what we could use them, we could use something like
They have to
that,
be set, you have to have a mason, set them all.
yeah. And these guys, I could easily get them to do it, this contract. They're very good at that. We also don't want to take away room in the plaza too, we want to make that as big of an area as we can. And if you look out the window, you'll see the size of it. I don't know if you want to take a quick look.
No, I
See
can,
the
I can
scale.
realize,
Yeah, you'll see
so
it,
they're
like
making-
it's,
So,
Yeah.
and I'm not trying to be a dead horse, but I guess this is why we're talking about it.
Oh, good.
If there's not enough greenery, it will never feel like a plaza. You can call it a plaza until the cows come home. It
Yeah.
has to- People have to feel it, not be told it.
yes. I think, coming out of this, I think large planter boxes, maybe even like they can be moved around. Because keep in mind, we want to use it for this, like, for example, for the stage. Say you want to put the stage up there for an event, you can put it right in the center. So you don't want to have like, I don't want to put a tree in the center because then the tree can't be moved.
I think we're also looking at the possibility of like temporary tables and chairs.
Right, so-
Also,
But before you get tables and chairs, so you can do the trees in the ground, the granite stones they sell at that place on Township Line, and
Yeah.
have a mason do, but I would do like 2 or 3 of them in strategic places. And then the other 5 or 6 planter boxes, there's jumbo plastic ones, I have one in front of one of my grandchildren. It's 3.5 feet tall, and it's 4 feet wide.
Yes.
This round pot, and I have moved it on a hand truck with another person. So you could do those big round ones. They look like they're stone, but they're plastic,
Yeah. Like the bigger ones though.
they're real big ones.
Yeah,
Real big.
that can take a full-size tree almost and give you shade.
I have full-size trees.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about, yeah, something like that with some tables and chairs in there, that could be, and the space could be manipulated too, right? You want to,
I mean,
in some ways.
I'm saying yes to the pots, shouldn't be too many, because that's just gonna be a disaster, and they never get moved in time, and they never get moved back, and then
Yeah.
they're in a temporary spot, and somebody hits them, whatever. And you're gonna feel safer behind granite blocks than you are. That's what I'm saying, it has to feel like a plaza, and I just think 6 trees and a few planter boxes, that's a big space.
Yeah.
Because that's.
So add 3 or 4 planter boxes and then also some,
Yes.
Well, see if you can
Some-
squeeze in a few more ground trees. Is there
I-
any place you could squeeze in a few more ground trees?
potentially, yes. I can look at adding a couple in there, for sure.
And I would
Um,
try to pick all the same tree, whatever tree you pick, just pick
you
all the
think
same.
all the same tree?
I would, everybody else should have an opinion, but I think all the same tree gives it a,
There's,
Oh, yeah, you want it to be.
well, there's 2 schools of thought. That looks the best, in my opinion, looks the best. However, one gets hit with a disease.
disease, they're all gone.
So that's the only.
Oh,
Yeah,
You also might want some,
Well, this is disease-free for Darby, so we're good.
God bless.
God bless what, the trees?
Yes.
well, you can, we have 3 trees on each side, we could do 2 and 1, 2 and 1.
Jim, would there being like shrubs in the planter boxes help to create that sense of greenery?
Oh, yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
but you gotta make sure you pick the right sturdy boxwood or holly or something that
Right.
takes lots of sun, can't, no azaleas. Mungo pines do great, I don't know what they look like, people don't like them as a rule, but they're sturdy, they last at the shore, they last in the sun up here.
Mungo pines.
Yeah, MUNGO. Might be an H in there.
We're gonna look that
And,
one up.
while we're talking about trees and all of that, what about, bikes?
We do have some, I can look at bike racks, add a bike rack out there.
We have one,
We do
right?
have a bike
We
rack
have a
over
bike
at
rack
one
already.
center though.
Yeah, there's one right
Okay.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's close enough. Yeah, it's close, it's very close.
But like benches, tables, stuff like that, I
The
think.
downside of no parking meters is we lost bike block stations.
That's true.
That's a big problem that people complain about in the city now,
Oh,
is
really?
that they've lost some of their bike block spaces.
Well, I tell you what I would hate to see are those ugly white, I don't know, stanchions that they're using to block off the bike lanes.
That's terrible.
They're horrible, they get hit, they're dirty, and then no one fixes them. And they close the street off to traffic, the street's so narrow that to me it becomes a danger.
The bikes are gonna win.
Right, but there's got to be something more aesthetically pleasing. We already have them on Owen, where Owen meets Garrett, and there's already 2 of them that are pushed sideways and look already terrible.
Yeah.
I think there are better quality ones. I think sometimes people just don't buy the best.
All the way down Chestnut into Philadelphia.
Like something like this.
They're horrible,
Yeah, they're absolutely.
and they look bad.
Get some of them in there,
Dirty
kind of
months.
Yeah.
dispersing around would definitely
I know, but the bikes are, we
a
need the
good
bike
feel.
people. And we got, and
For
we got.
even this here, look
Even
at
if
this
it's
one.
not perfect, the bike people are here and they're
So you can sit
multiplied.
on it and slow it to the
Anybody.
ground.
Yeah, I'm not saying
Yeah.
that we
You know,
should, you know, in some way, shape, or form prohibit it.
Yeah,
I'm just
Or else
saying
nobody
that
uses it.
what the city is using
It's a bad solution.
is a really bad
It's
solution.
awful.
Now, if you wanna, you know, use a tree to come up with a better solution, or some shrubs, better solution. But those white stanchions are horrendous, and I'm not sure they're keeping bikes safe, because people run over them all the time. They park in between them all the time. In fact, that's why they started
That's why they're
the,
pushed so many of them are pushed sideways.
Yes.
Cars just shove them.
because nobody cares.
But,
Are you still talking trees over there?
no. We-
There's these beech trees over too. They're red leaf beech trees. Either tricolor or copper beech.
Okay, I'm looking up, some planter boxes that we could, I was just showing Josh a couple ideas. The
So,
concrete, low profile boxes, the plaza type style, really pop out there, I think. So we'll share them. We have time. I mean, we'll shoot out some emails, we'll get some feedback. And then I'll show up, like, I'll zoom in on this plaza. We'll look at some more options for to spruce it up.
And I don't know what your budget is, and I hope I'm not monopolizing this, but I'm really, like, I pay attention to stuff all the time. Now, and it's working really well. On Walnut Street, below Schuylkill, down to 15, they have trees and they dug out the wells, put all good dirt in there. That was another thing. You know, when you plant the trees, you gotta do it correctly. And then they got these wrought iron boxes put around, and it looks so cool on Walnut Street from the river to 15. These wrought iron, because if you don't have some way to.
I know what you're talking about.
It's just like now the older ones are
Like
fancy.
in the
and
Navy
small.
Yard, if you go to the Navy Yard, they have like, they're kind of sunken down, like for stormwater.
Well, the
Yeah.
trees should be, slight well, but, and
They're in a well, yeah, you have a fence around it.
like a lower wrought iron or
Yeah.
aluminum, whatever, and the walnut, and then there's a bunch of boxwoods inside. It looks great.
I know what you're talking about. They did a lot of that at the Navy Yard. I saw that when I was there.
Commonwealth in Boston, is that way too.
Yeah,
Do a little,
What does?
Commonwealth Avenue in Boston's back there.
Does it?
Same thing.
Because what happens is, trees, animals urine on the tree can eventually affect it. It makes it so acidic the soil that the trees end up dying.
So, I feel like we've given Mike some good direction.
I'm gonna come back with some
responses,
mods and we're gonna
trees,
discuss. And
right.
I talked to Josh about some form of lighting out there and we're working on that. And
Mhm.
it's a water feature or something like that to try to even incorporate that.
Water feature.
Yeah, like a spray, we have like a pool party out there. No, a hot tub.
You're turning the marble steps into a fountain.
Yeah, that'd be
Oh,
cool.
that's.
That would be cool.
Oh, I like
I
that.
remember they were open, yeah. Do you remember when Manfred covered them all with mulch?
That's what I was saying. Yeah, they were covered with, they were all covered
He
with,
took 3 trucks of mulch and just covered them with mulch and then stuck a marrow
Topsoil.
here and there. Oh my God, it was really sad. Very sad. I was embarrassed. The only time I've ever been embarrassed to be living in Upper Darby was when the steps were covered in mulch and marigolds.
I remember that. There was a Google Earth picture with that. I'm not kidding.
All
Did you
right,
cut through a water, trickle it out,
That'd be cool. That would be cool.
and then block it off and then put people sitting in the steps below it?
I'm a Trevi fountain.
I know,
Okay.
so I appreciate the feedback and I'm gonna incorporate this. And there's also, another project that's going on. It's the Garrett Road modernization. They're not quite ready to come in. And this goes from Lansdowne to Sherbrooke. They're not quite ready to come in and present to the planning commission, but I would say within the next month or so, 2 months, I'll probably have them in here to go over the project.
Tell them we don't like white ballers.
No white power.
Okay, thanks, Mike, thanks, everybody, that was a really good conversation. I don't think we have anything under zoning, so we can move into old business. Josh has organized all of our projects onto this great sheet here. Josh, you wanna just walk us through it a little bit?
Yeah, so, and while we're looking at this, you can look at the dates. They're not gonna be all that important to you. They're very important to me. Because we find that these projects seem to take a long time. So they'll bring something in and then a couple months will pass and then I have to figure out, oh, wait, where are they in this process? So I look at the tracker, but the most important thing to pay attention to, right, is just kind of the flow across and then what color it is. So, right, the project title and address will kind of tell you what's going on in the plan, and then there's a description. And then it moves from, I guess that's left to right in the order that it's going through the land development process. So it's starting with the submittals to our dual reviews with the county, then moving to, right, approval by council, And then some other approvals like Dartmouth Creek Joint Authority for where it applies. Then moving to signatures and agreements, recording, and then eventually getting to building permits and project completion. So it's kind of the whole life cycle of a land development project on the sheet. And then just talk about some of the different colors. All the projects in red are completed. All the projects in green, the planning's been completed, so they're through that and they're into the construction. Everything in the yellow is somewhere in the planning process. They haven't quite gotten recorded, they haven't begun construction. And then everything in red is either rejected or put on hold. And I'm happy to answer questions about it. And I think just so to kind of frame where we're at right now, we've been having several plans go through the zoning process, or have sketch, pre-submission meetings with us. So we probably have 7 or 8 plans that are on the horizon. We think, you know, with interest rates, that might be making people hold on for a second. But you know, there's 7 or 8 projects that are lined up and we're gonna be on our plate pretty soon, just a matter of when. Does anybody have any questions about that?
I like the way this is laid out. Very,
Thank you.
aside from the fact that the font is incredibly
I wanted to-
unforgiving.
Yes, I wanted it all on one page and there were sacrifices.
But this is, it's very clear. I'm amazed at, and I was going to ask about, the Starbucks
Mhm.
site, because that's starting to
Sure.
look like a, it's just starting not to be very friendly.
Well, to that point, can we prod them? to come in?
Yeah.
I know they have to rebuild their plan.
Yeah, I will, let me send the feeler out to see where they're at and talk about property maintenance.
Okay.
So we can also talk to our code enforcement team too.
Yeah, but
Is the grass overgrown? I try like anything to avoid state light or.
It just looks abandoned.
It looks
It looks-
abandoned.
yeah, just-
Yeah, it looks abandoned.
It's a,
It is a bit.
It is, yeah, but it looks like it's,
it's an.
I know what you mean. It's
It
kind of
doesn't
a
look like the
spot.
project is coming. It looks dead.
Yeah,
I mean, they could do something. Self recall.
All right, I'll put a feeler out.
Yeah, put a few, I didn't, maybe remind them that. I
I know
don't think
the
they would have any
engineer,
obstacles.
I can
if
bug
they
the
come back.
engineer a little bit.
Is it on here?
Starbucks,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, it's in the.
Stays
Oh, I
like
see,
that,
I
and
see,
it's
it's
yellow.
right in the middle.
Yeah.
So I do a quick question, this one in Roosevelt,
Mhm.
I saw something on Roosevelt. Yes.
Yeah,
Did they start that yet?
they got their permits. I don't know if they started
They're
it.
supposed to do a little pre-con for that. just for
Which
install.
one is this one?
Reeser subdivision, what is that?
Right.
Yeah, it's a twin dwelling that they're putting up.
They came before.
Oh, that was a
No.
lot.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Except twin house.
They might have.
I don't know. Some of these were before planning commission started. So the tail end of it, like 8201, I don't think went through us. But you can see, we have like all the stuff at the end, that's when I got here. You know, you get the idea.
St. Andrews is on hold?
Okay, shoot, bye.
I'm sorry, they're being sued by.
One of the neighbors.
The guy from the billboard company. He didn't want
I
something,
don't think he's leaving. I
He's
think.
not? Somebody
It's
else.
Faso.
Wow.
I have up Prendy, what's up there now? I haven't seen anything going on there.
Yeah, so with the, are you referring to the parking lot redevelopment or the Delaware County Community College?
There were two
Same.
projects there.
There are two,
Well,
They subdivided, yeah.
Yeah.
Behind Bonner, the friaries getting demolished, so we're rebuilding. That's going on now.
Yes,
Okay.
And you guys saw that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
community college is,
That's-
yeah, what is going on with community?
Yeah, what's
college?
going on with community
We're
college?
supposed to have
They're,
groundbreaking next month, right?
yes, I thought it was yesterday or Saturday.
They had the groundbreaking Saturday, but we're still coordinating with them because they have funding for certain aspects of the project, not the total project. So we asked them for some additional information on what actually is gonna get built based on the land development, waiting for them to get back to us.
But
We did attend a pre-con meeting for the demolition. I don't believe any permits were issued yet, though.
Permits haven't been issued yet, but that's what's gonna happen in the foreseeable future is demolition's gonna start. So next month or so, might be my guess.
Yeah, they have a contractor on board for demolition only. I don't think they have a building contractor or a site contractor yet at this time.
Because, you know, I was very concerned when they came, before I had anything to do with this, I think, they came in and said the building that was a lot of our students who are coming from Upper Darby and Clifton Heights and Sharon Hill have to take 2 buses to get there, so this would reduce their commute. And then they said they're building a 5-story parking garage, so there's a parking space for every student. So they didn't have cars last week, did you go and buy them all cars? And they didn't think I was too funny, and they didn't respond, so I didn't know where, I had asked why that 5-car parking garage was necessary. And I don't think I ever heard anything back about that.
So I think we're gonna get more detail from them on that as they go throughout. I believe a lot of it came from, I think, the auditorium. And from the calculation that, considered that. I don't think it was so much the classrooms.
The
But
auditorium,
the gymnasium,
The required number of parking spaces
Oh.
for their gym.
I think that was a heavy, and I think we'll see what happens with the
well, I asked
phasing.
the formula for how they come up with parking spaces, and they all just looked at each other, nobody knew, they just knew they wanted to build these 5-story garage. That's all.
Yeah, I think that's on hold for now.
They don't have, they're waiting, they don't have funding for the garage right now. The parking garage, based on what they've told us.
Well, maybe we can save the carriage house then. So if our construction,
No, the parking's still gonna go there.
huh?
Parking's still gonna go in
If
that
they get
area.
the funding.
Well, the ground level parking lot is still gonna go there.
Ground level, yeah.
That's a shame that the building should not be shut down.
The comment has been duly noted.
Oh, this is great, Josh. I think this,
You want to talk about Drexel at the next meeting?
Yeah.
That should be coming.
No problem, yeah, no problem.
What about,
Drexel will be coming in the next meeting.
A revision to the plan.
They submitted like last week, so it wasn't in time to make it to this meeting.
basically what the revision's gonna ask?
Yeah, they're modifying the apartments to an office building, a medical office building.
The apartments.
Not the apartments that they're gonna do an office building, and then CHOP is gonna be part of that building.
I don't know if they've made any public announcements about who it's gonna be.
Well, CHOP made an announcement out, so I guess they're.
If CHOP made the announcement, then yes.
Well, if you know anything about sewer, less sewer for an
Yes,
office.
it's
Yeah,
probably a positive thing.
it's a positive thing there.
I don't wanna prejudge it before their presentation though,
Yeah.
without them here.
But that's basically the gist of it, that.
That's the gist of it, yeah.
And did they say who the storage company was yet, just out of curiosity?
I think I asked that last time, I don't think they did. I don't think they know yet.
Sometimes they don't know to right before.
I know I saw tanks come in for the Wawa, so that, that's it. All the people, everybody asked me, is Wawa not gonna come? And I'm like, they're coming, and they finally brought the tanks. So we know a gas station's coming at least. Now Wawa, there's Wawa should be there, based on what you're telling me. So,
The Beverly Hills, field, spectacular,
oh, no,
It's nice, isn't it, Sean?
spectacular.
gets a lot of use.
I use it regularly.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, it is spectacular. It's wonderful the way they've got it laid out. And
Trees look good.
it's very comfortable. The grounds around it look good. If they could just do something about that dumpster area where the parking is, that would be lovely. But,
City play football up there?
yeah, but, yeah. Tackle football, cause I'm that kind of girl.
I'm kidding.
Duly noted.
Oh, God, okay.
okay, Josh, you have some, we talked a lot about the smoke shop ordinance last month. Anything new there?
Leah, do you wanna report anything or save it till we're a little further?
I think it's a really local know about the meetings that we're at.
Go for it.
Hello all.
Hey, Leah.
Hey, so we're still doing research on,
Is the mic on?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I'm down.
We're still doing research on, regulations that other places have. But we were asked in between last meeting and now to bring in internal and external stakeholders and hold meetings with people within the township that have, kind of a stake in this. So that's what we're doing now. We're gonna conduct meetings, ask people what they think should be incorporated and kind of bring that information back to you all. if that makes sense.
That's something.
Like police, fire, L&I, see what their thoughts are.
Okay, when you say stakeholders, you don't just mean the smoke shop.
Right.
No,
Pie.
not just
Internal.
the police, sorry.
Internal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I noticed one between Cornell and Concord and State. It already looks like a junk shop, and they have like what's it called, job rolling papers. You know, it says convenience store and cigarettes or whatever, or smokes or whatever, but then everything in the window is smoking oriented.
You were just telling, and you're in the process of collecting the data.
Oh, so last meeting, we were asked, there's a few things that I don't know, do we talk about them? Or do we talk about diligence research?
Yeah, just we're in the process of gathering the square footages for all the building. We've just been working very hard on that.
Yeah, I guess to add, I don't know, so our issue is that these places come in as convenience stores. And then during our process of kind of monitoring them, we find out that they're smoke shops or that they're selling an exorbitant amount of smoke shop related materials. So what our findings are is like, yeah, we have the square footage for the stores, but they are convenience stores and they came prior to the ordinance. So hopefully in the future, we'll find methods that are more proactive. Because right now, what we're looking at is people actually coming in and telling us they're smoke shops. That's our method right now, and that's just not feasible because people aren't coming in and telling us they're smoke shops. They're coming in and telling us they're convenience stores and then ending up as smoke shops. So that's kind of where
And it's proliferating between the smoke shops and the auto repair. It's,
So once if they close, like how soon do you think we could have an ordinance put together and approved? With everything in the township that has to happen.
I don't think,
We're doing, I mean, seriously, it's the end of the year.
I mean, we've been talking about it for a while, I mean, can we?
end of the year is still the goal.
Is that realistic?
Yeah, I think it's still realistic.
What would prevent it from happening?
It's just, it's time heavy. It's a very labor intensive process right now. You know, even gathering the research. And I guess we did want to ask the question for external stakeholder interviews. Did you guys have any recommendations or people you think should be involved? We're kind of just looking at that to set it up and would love your input. It doesn't have to be now. If you guys have ideas later and you want to shoot us an email, just let us know.
I think the American Cancer has been helping some parts of the country.
Really?
They are,
it makes
with
sense.
statistics, yeah. I have a friend that has businesses up in New England, real estate. He was talking about that they were objecting to something because of the American Cancer contacted him and said, we understand you're considering putting this in. It's in like a really busy, nice place in Massachusetts, not Western Mass.
Okay, thanks. Next we've got, the Soul Smart. Remember the woman came in and had looked at our ordinance and tried to talk about whether it was friendly or not friendly to getting people to think about solar. So there's the upside of trying to have our ordinance push people towards solar, but then we also have to be careful that they don't do stupid things like put panels up in bad places in bad ways. So anyway, update there, Josh?
Yeah, so I'm happy to announce that we officially have been granted a silver designation, SoulSmart designation. So we have silver status. And they gave us a whole PR press release and everything, and we can represent ourselves as a, solar certified community, SoulSmart certified community, which is good. And we're
And what does that allow you to do?
well, it's one, right, it's just, it's good for us to help our own internal practices, right? The whole point is cutting through the red tape, educating ourselves, making it easier for people that are going to try to use solar, bridging those connections, making sure that it's not, unnecessarily costly. And then it's gonna help us, right? The review that we've done in this process is gonna help us draft the solar ordinance.
And how long will that take? What's more important, the smokes or solar?
Smoke shop is
Smoke.
primary.
Smoke, smoke, smoke.
What helped us get the Soul Smart silver status? Is it the panels on the roof?
Panels are helpful.
Okay.
Panels are part of it. That shows that, right, we're willing to lead by example. Part of it was, just going through trainings for us. Part of it was, talking about it as a group here, doing that ordinance review and looking over those certifications, looking over those requirements, updating our website. We added a bunch of solar stuff. We have a landing page for that too. There was a good amount of work that went into it. Probably took about a little over 2 years.
Wow.
But it's done now. And then we can, as we improve it, once we knock off this ordinance, then we can probably even apply for gold, because that's a lot of requirements that we're gonna be able to hit. And that's kind of how we're gonna do the ordinance, is just by looking at what they recommend, what their recommendations were. And
Or can they give you an ordinance you can just duplicate? Will they give you like some shell or some?
they gave us stuff.
Okay. They got contacts in the smoke world?
How many people are actually landing on the Soul Smart page on the web?
What do you mean,
What are the analytics?
on our website?
Yeah, that they're actually looking for information about it. What's the analytics on that?
I don't know. I certainly don't have access to any of the analytics for our website.
I mean, because it's nice to have this, but if no one knows and no one hears about it, and I mean, how effective
Right.
is the certification?
Right, so I mean, the certification's internal and external, right? It's just make sure that we're doing the best practices that we can. So the whole idea is to make it easier for when people say, hey, I want to do solar, and they start looking into it. They can look, and the township has a webpage that's dedicated towards it. All you have to do is look up solar, in our little search bar.
And we currently have that.
Yep, it's in.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so then there should be analytics as to how many people are actually spending time on the page.
There could be, I don't know. I don't
Okay,
know.
can you find out?
We can
I
ask
I
Scott.
can ask Scott.
Yeah, we can ask Scott.
Or Eric, they both keep track on the website. I'm sure we have clicks
Right,
somewhere,
yeah.
traffic.
I'll ask him, Josh.
Okay.
I sit right next to him, so.
I'd be happy to man the booth, but when we have like festival day and Pride Day, would it be worthwhile to have like one of those little pop-up Rite Aid tents and a table and talk about, just have solar information and, go to here on our website? I mean, I'll stand there and hand out pamphlets and try not to insult too many people, so respectful.
Yeah, we talked about doing an information tent at the temple. Like I said, that we have 69th Street and.
Or we could do something at the International Fair.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about having an
When is the
information
International?
tent.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
in September.
September.
Yeah.
Cassandra and I can be the booth hosts.
No, we're not. No, no, I'm not that girl.
I tried.
Good try.
She's gonna sign you up for the dump tank.
but that would be, even if we just had a little table there and had a laptop on it with the township website up and say, we're planning commission, and there's just little info about the township in general.
It'd definitely be helpful if we had the ordinance first, before we really start pushing.
Yeah, no, but just not specifically pushing one thing or another, but just introducing that the township is forward thinking, has a planning commission, has a shade tree commission, has a historic commission. Just sort of that type of thing.
Yeah.
Not drilling on any one.
Right, depending upon where we're on, what's going on, it might be two groups, three aspects of the township, and if there's something big happening, it would just be that, for that, whatever's timely, whatever people think would.
We'll definitely get used to it, because as we get to the comprehensive plan, we're gonna need to do things like being out in different community events with booths,
Right.
because we're gonna be trying to push surveys and town meetings and things like that. So, keep that in the back of your mind if we want to run a couple test trials.
Yeah.
As we gear up for twenty
It
28.
exists, we're gonna become an action in the next 2 years. Think
Yeah.
about what you want for your community, this will be back.
And that whole meeting with Temple and their students.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, that was great.
was, very enlightening, and they had, enormous amount of pictures of what things could be, what it could look like. And that should be in front of the community, and Pride Fest and International Day, those are
Yeah.
spectacular
Good
times to, acquaint the community with these plans in, at least, in the atmosphere.
Yeah, they have a great, it's a great opportunity. The open space plan and so on.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody have anything else, any new business or anything that you want to ask Josh or Lee about, or Mike, since he's here tonight?
Go shopping.
Okay, if there's nothing else, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
I second.
We are done, thank you.
Hey, Josh,